Welcome to church. We're just playing a game here. We're playing the game Headbands. And what it is you have a picture of something on a headband. You don't know what it is, and you have to look at the people around you to try and figure out who you are. You know, sometimes life can be like playing a game of headbands. I think a lot of us are trying to figure out who we are all of the time. The world will tell us that to figure out who we are, the best place to look is inside ourselves. To look at what we want and what our desires are, what our preferences are, the things that we like. And that will help us to determine who we are and how to express our true self to the world. But the best way to figure out who we are is to look up and to ask God. Now, I think the best answer to the question of who are you is this: we are all human. But what does that actually mean? Hey kids, welcome to my classroom. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to be getting a little bit geeky here, and we're going to be talking about some really fancy words. The question was asked, what does it mean to be human? And I think the best way to answer that question is to go back to the very beginning in the book of Genesis when God created the first human, Adam. Now the word human in Hebrew is Adam. And Adam comes from the word Adama, which means dirt. The name Adam can also come from the word Idama, which means to be similar to the higher, or basically means to resemble God. And we are told in the book of Genesis that God created man out of the dust of the ground, Adama, and that he also made man in his image, Idama. You and I have been made in the image of God, and it's a huge part of who we are. It's the basis of our identity. Now, the best way that I can think of to describe what it means to be made in the image of God is to talk about art. Now, I have a painting here that one of my kids painted, and it's valuable to me because the person that painted it is valuable to me. And that's kind of the way that art works. You know, art is just made out of paper and some paint or some canvas, and it's not made out of really valuable stuff like, you know, precious gold or gems or things like that. What makes art valuable is the artist that made it. You know, a painting that's painted by Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci is extremely valuable, and it's kept in a museum behind, you know, plexiglass where people can't touch it or even breathe on it. But if the artist isn't really well known, people don't really care about that art at all. It's not valuable. People aren't going to pay huge amounts of money for it. So what makes a piece of art valuable is this artist that has signed it and said, yes, I made that. And that's what it's like for God. God created us. He is our artist. He made us. And then he put his image on us and said, I made you. And that is what gives us worth and value. So what does it mean to be human? It means that God created us, and he created us to show how great he is. The problem is that humans don't really do that. You know, we've sinned, and so there's this big black ink spot on our canvas that's hiding God's name and not showing people who God really is. There's this really cool verse in Ephesians 2:10, and it says that we are God's masterpiece. He's created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. Jesus takes that sin, that big ink blot on our canvas, and he washes it with his blood because he died for us. And he makes God visible in us again to the world. And so today the question is, and please pause and discuss this with your family, how can you show God's image to the people around you this week? Thanks for getting geeky with me today, and have an awesome week.